everybody. How are y'all tonight? Boom. First comment, Nick Wecker. Let's see who else we have. We have Jessica, Rick Cowan, Bill Henry, Cheyenne, Paul, David, Eric, Samantha. Bam is here, so it's officially a party now. That's right. Daryl Bonds, Scott Whitlow, Josh, Henry, Jim Music. Oh, yeah, look at all these up. Hannah. Why is it not letting me scroll? Mark, Linda, Julie. That is a checkerboard wrasse. He is the sheriff of the tank. Love my shirt. You can find it at PNW Customs. Melissa. Who else do we have? Melly V. Scott Whitlow. Daryl Bonds. Danny. Hardly. Finbird. Tank Talk is here. Best weeknight day. That's right. Aw, that's so sweet, Harley. I'll see you soon, though. I bet you. Let's see. Maddie, Barbara. I know, I love this shirt. Y'all need to snag one. Donald Fletcher, Barry, Hubby, Lori, Danny, Rick, Carter, Thomas. Party at Tank Talk. Hey, you never know. You never know what's going to happen. Brianna, Stephen. Oh, Stephen Kelsey said hello. Poor guy. I don't know why every comment he ever makes goes to spam. So, Bill Billings. But it does. I don't know. I'm so sorry. Those sunglasses. She feels fancy now. She got them Maui Gems Ocean sunglasses. They look really snappy too, I might add. You're going to be rocking them too. Congratulations. Good to see everybody tonight. Yes. Poor Harley has to sit right next to us this week. You got a show this weekend. Yeah, Rap Orlando's coming up real quick. We're less than 3 weeks away. When you have arthritis, you have to do it like this. You can't hardly do it like this. So, less than 3 weeks away till Rap Orlando. I'm super excited about that. I hope to see a lot of you there. There you go, Brown. You're going to be rocking them. I know you are. Erin says hi. Awesome. Hey, Cheyenne. So far, it's been better than last week. Like, it finally quit raining here Sunday. Did y'all get flooded out with all the rain? Oh, dear goodness. It's been a mess here. Nick Wecker's going to be at Rap New York. It really is a party with Bam Bam there. Barry Goss is ready for Orlando. Everything is booked. There we go. I know we're seeing some. If by chance you cannot make it to Rap Orlando in person, I do believe that the talk will be broadcast live on Saturday. So hopefully you can keep an eye out for that. So I'm super stoked, super excited about it. If you haven't been to a Reefapalooza show, I suggest you try to find your nearest and go check it out, because they are pretty cool. Pretty cool shows. Danny Devine is ready for Rap Orlando. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Drew, it's been raining like crazy in India. Oh, gosh, I'm telling you. We've had tornadoes, like, from last Wednesday, I think. Last Wednesday night. And torrential rain. It's just ungodly, the amount of rain that we have had. So, yeah, it's been a mess. Past couple of days of sunshine, so, yeah, I am enjoying that sunshine. Let me look and see if I can find our special guest and we can get this ball rolling. Yeah. You know, we did we did pull a prank on you last week. You know, it was April Fool's Day. Um, it was April Fool's Day, so we kind of tricked y'all. Says adding Mike Wolz. Click connect. Click accept. You lost power Saturday and got it back yesterday. Oh gosh, poor thing. And you're in Arkansas too. Yeah, it's been a mess. But we pranked you. Nothing can rain on Tian smile. That's right. You're here. Okay. I sent you a request. Do you see it pop up, Mike? Let me know if you see it pop up. It says adding. It says declined. You declined my request, Mike Wolz? How dare you? No, I see a request from you now. Just kidding. Now it says adding. We'll try it that way. We kind of pranked you. Are you there? Oh, that's all right. I've been declined more than once. You're not the first one.
I was convinced that my phone needed to rotate when, in fact, it did not.
Yeah. I see Facebook is still not fixed. I can't see you on my phone, but I can see you on my laptop. So no worries there. I think everybody can see us both. So yeah, I think it's all good. Mike, welcome to Tank Talk with Diane.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's a good way to spend some time this evening.
I love it. I'm so excited. And I want to thank you because you helped me last week to prank everybody on Tank Talk because it was April Fool's Day. And we actually put up a promo that was all messed up. It wasn't messed up, but it wasn't the kind of promos like we normally put out. And see if I can move that. And so you agreed to help me pull off a prank on Tank Talk. So that's what we did. So thank you for doing that. It surprised everybody because we didn't have you on last week. We knew we were doing it this week. But you agreed to help pull off the prank, you know, so that was fantastic. We had Bobby Moon on. He helped us pull it off also. And so he was my guest last week on April Fool's Day. So it worked out really good. So Mike, I got to meet you at Rap Dallas. But not everybody got to meet you there. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I've been a reefer for a long time. I was out of the game for a little bit, and recently I started living on the road and needed a little something to keep my mind right. So I met Harley at a trade show in Denver from B&W Custom, and my buddy insisted that I make one of his tiny tanks portable so I could take it on the road with me. And here I am now, about a year later, and almost 60 species deep in my tiny tank. We're in Montana this week, and my coworker told me to bring my fly fishing pole, so I managed to find Toby one of his own. So we're gonna go have a little fishing date this Thursday.
Oh.
And yeah.
How many species did you say is in that tank?
I think it's 55 right now. I need to do a little bit of a head count. I had an acro sort of RTN on me, and you know, I've kind of traded some stuff around and picked some new stuff up, but I'm pretty sure I'm at 55. Give or take one or two. You know, it's over 50 and less than 60 for sure.
That's insane. Insane. And so when did you start that tank?
This tank started March 1st of 2024. So I left Reef Stock, went home to my buddy's place in Georgetown, Colorado, which is, you know, an hour and a half or so out of Denver. And we set it up at his place. I took some sand from a tank that I'd helped him set up and a little rock. And I ended up with a hitchhiker hermit crab that was living in the sand. And it's been alive ever since. I drove it back down the hill on a cell phone battery bank with packing tape holding the lid shut to keep as much water in as we could. That was the inception of the portable reef tank.
That is insane. Absolutely insane. I mean, I got to see it at Dallas, and I was like, oh dear. I mean, if you take a close up picture of that tank, you cannot tell that it is 40 ounces. Actually, I mean, it looks like a full blown reef tank, which it is. It's just a smaller version.
No, that's a huge
That,
compliment. I appreciate it. Here, let's see if this will let me flip it around. It's not bad if you hit it at the right angle. It's got a good look to it. Um,
oh, I did not see any angles at Dallas that was not a good. Look at that, y'all. That is, look at that fish. What kind of fish is that now?
he's a blue neon cleaner goby. That's Toby. He's sort of the local celebrity. Toby actually saved the tank. This tank would not be alive today if it weren't for him. I actually dropped the tank one day outside of Rainier National Park. It fell about 2.5 feet, and I lost so much water that my reserves weren't enough to keep it up. And Petco in Yakima, Washington would not sell me a bag of water for $1 million. It was against their rules. So I bought a fish, and he's doubled in size, and he's fat and happy and full of love. He'll even come perch on your finger if you drop it in the tank. He's not scared of people at all. He's just living his best life.
That is insane. And well, first of all, the first part that's insane about that is the fact that they would not sell you a little, a couple of cups of water. Let's be honest
I
here.
know. I know.
I'm like, wow, Petco, you just kind of went down a notch there. So that's really sad. I'll say that. That's really sad. But it all worked out how it was supposed to, because like Toby is just looks like he's just happy as he can be in there.
Oh yeah.
So so what modifications have you done to that 40-ounce PNW? Harley, if you will drop your link in here. How much renovation have you done to that to be able to make it a traveling tank? And literally, guys, he does take this thing with him everywhere. It has been the
Um,
parks and everywhere.
That's a tough question to answer. As far as what needed to be modified to make it able to travel, I got a USB pump and I plugged it into a cell phone battery bank. So the first time it ever came with me, um, not much was different. To be able to travel with it comfortably and not have any issues and be ready, I've done all kinds of stuff. So you can see I've got the weather stripping on the lid here,
Yeah.
some oversized rubber bands that, I just ordered just about every large rubber band that was in stock on any vendor I could find and picked the best ones. And I've got a bag of 50 of these guys. Um, the whole tank is sort of a one-off at this point. So I've got um, a few things going on here. There's my wall adapter, so I'm always ready to plug it in. I've got a Google Smart Switch, so I can ask my phone to control the lighting on the tank. I've got my heater controller. The battery bank does pass-through charging, so I can take this coil out with that plug and plug it in when I'm at work. And then battery life was a bit tricky with everything running full tilt, trying to fly across the country. So I got a couple pulse width modulators, and I 3D printed this enclosure to be able to control the light and vary its brightness. Same thing, I built a refugium in the sump because it seemed like there was plenty of space. I've got an emerald crab, a cerith snail, some stars, some brittle acerrinas and brittles, and then a couple different kinds of macroalgae down here. But I turn this off when I'm traveling. And then I thought the light sandwich looked nice, having sort of pink, blue. So I took a aquarium truck that my friend had gotten me from Japan and put a bunch of LEDs on it. That's got a magnetic connector because United Airlines only cared that the tank would fit under the seat in front of me, and their seats are about that tall off the ground. So this just barely slides in there. And then I built a base for the tote bag. So it's actually got walls. It can't slide inside of the tote bag. The bag slides with it. So that keeps it from tipping over, makes the foundation a bit wider, kind of helps lower the center of gravity. And then it's got a little handle cut out in the bottom of the tote bag and in the base that fit right over the top of my suitcase. So when I set it on my suitcase, it rolls as one unit. I don't have to, worry about is it going to slide off, or if I hit a bump, is it going to go flying or anything like that. It's locked on there, and that's no problem. The seals work great, so I don't have to worry about any sort of leakage. When the plane takes off, the water level will creep up, creep up, creep up. It'll usually end up about halfway up the lid, and the star polyps in the back will be well out of the water, kind of like they are now. But everything's fine. The corals don't close up. Toby stays swimming around just like he is right now. Every now and then I've got a few fungia in there, and every now and then one of them will end up, kicked to the back or upside down if it catches a real good bump or something. But, nobody else really has any issues. The goniopora will close up too. That guy sucks his tentacles in pretty quickly when there's too much motion, but still, he was a gift at RAP, and he's been in there happy as a clam. We just got back. I took this tank out of the car 5 or 6 minutes ago, 7 minutes ago, before we started this, and it's already extending and happy. So, no.
That is cool. So I've been curious about this, and I wanted to ask you, so I'll ask you now. What is said when you go through TSA? What do they say? Anything?
It's a bit of a mixed bag. The airports that I go through a lot are really easy these days. So Denver and Seattle are sort of the main two that I frequent. And Denver has honestly stopped doing anything to check it. They basically take it from me and hand it to me behind the checkpoint and just say, "Have a good day, Mike. We'll see you next week." So that's pretty sweet. They started out a bit more cautious. Most airports, I'll walk up to the checkpoint, and I figured out the best TSA hack that I think anybody's ever come up with. It's unheard of, but I just want you to know that I've tested this thoroughly. The best way to get treated well at TSA is to treat them like human beings. Not very many people do that, I think, and if you can just extend some courtesy, crack a joke, ask how their day's going, smile, be pleasant to deal with, be somebody that they want to be helpful towards. Even if they're super caught off guard, they figure it out. Some of them haven't ever seen a live animal exemption that involved water before, so they'll say, "I don't know if I can let that through." And usually I'll just coax them like, "Hey, there's a provision on the website. TSA says live fish are allowed in a larger volume of water as long as they're in a sealed container. I've got fish in here. I've got all kinds of stuff." And usually by the end of it, I've got 10 or 20 TSA agents on the other side of the checkpoint, all bent over looking at it, all curious. So it's not too much of an issue. I think they kind of love it. It's something to kind of brighten their day. I had one incident in San Antonio where I think the supervisor wasn't the happiest of folk and didn't really care to be treated like a human being. She didn't want to have to return the favor. I barely made it out of there, but a little bit of flight status and a little bit of coaxing, I found my way through. It just took an extra 20 or 30 minutes is all. Usually it doesn't even add 5 minutes, honestly.
See, that is so awesome. And that is really good sound advice that you just give, because they're human, they've got a job to do. Some of them, we're not all happy every day. Let's just be honest. You're going to have,
Totally.
everybody's going to have some off days. And but in reality, I think in the end, people just wants to be treated nicely, and I know they get a lot of flack, through all the, through people coming through and trying to get stuff, whatever, through, and just in general being rude. So I thoroughly agree that, being kind to someone gets you a whole lot further than, bucking up against them and, going nose to nose with them, So a kindness goes a long way, in my opinion. So I'm glad that you brought that up, because that's a very valid point right there. So now,
And just to be clear about their policy too, they reserve the right to refuse anything you want to bring through a checkpoint. So if you do want to bark at TSA, they could turn you away for having a laptop computer they don't like the look of. It's not about whether it's a fish tank or not. They have the right to just refuse you. They can just say, "I don't like the way you looked at me over there," and turn you away. So I'm not entitled to go through the checkpoint. I don't act entitled to go through the checkpoint. I would please ask that anybody else who maybe takes a fish tank on a plane not act entitled to go through the checkpoint, because all it takes is one person to ruin it for everybody. But that said, this has been super rewarding to travel with. I totally love it, and it's honestly the only reason I could really hold my job for as long as I have. I don't think my mental fortitude is sufficient on its own without Toby's help. He's kind of, my best friend.
Maybe you can get Toby certified as a support animal.
I asked a psychiatrist roughly 8 months or so ago if I could do that, and I'm not going to bother your channel with the exact words that he used because they were a bit profane, but he was not interested in having his license attached to the idea of an emotional support coral reef. So maybe somebody else would be open to it, but he did not seem too fond of the idea. I'm going to see if I can.
In reality, though, Mike, these tanks really do help us. I'll be honest. And there's a lot of veterans that suffer with PTSD and things like that has a reef tank for that very reason, is the support of it, So I don't really see anything wrong with, making that, an emotional support item, But of course, I'm not a psychiatrist, but, and they didn't ask me my opinion, but, I mean, it really does. There's a lot that, we get attached to these things, and all the stuff in it, like you and Toby are like this, so you've been through a lot together. So, I don't think it would, it doesn't sound too odd to me.
I kind of didn't think so either. And, I could probably ask around. I didn't try terribly hard. I found that one TSA agent out of 1,000 that didn't want to let it through. Maybe I just started out with that psychiatrist. Honestly, I've never been turned away. I've been turned away with this thing. So San Antonio Airport tried to turn me away. There were two individuals there that weren't interested. And I had enough status with United that my threats to transfer airlines got me through the checkpoint is basically what happened.
Yeah.
And then there's one bar in Tacoma that loved it the first time I went in, and the second time I went in, the bar manager, while I was sitting next to a 100-pound dog, told me that I couldn't have this in the bar, which I found somewhat shocking. Other than that, I've never had any problems. I've never had a hotel charge me a pet fee. I've never had a restaurant ask me not to dine inside. I show up to bars with it all the time. I took it skiing. I took it to Crystal Mountain. It's been, it's ridden down the slopes. I had it at the lodge all day, and I snowboarded down with it in my hands. I could go on and on the places it's been. They let it up to the top of the Space Needle. They let us into the Rocky Museum over in Philly. All kinds of stuff.
Toby has been more places than me.
He's a pretty well-traveled little Goby. He's living it.
He sure is. That is awesome. I was just going to ask you, what all places have you took? I've seen some of your pictures that you put up on Roman Reef. Now that is your page, correct? It's called Roman Reef.
Yeah, that's me. Well, it's Toby's page, really. I finally caved after about a year of people asking if he had social media. I went ahead and made it. Sort of the deal sealer.
That's right. Go and follow Roaming Reef here on Facebook. I've seen some of your pictures. Him sitting down there in front of this waterfall and just different places. I mean, you literally take him everywhere. And I do happen to know that you've been a really big hit at the shows too, such as Reefapalooza Dallas.
The reef shows are pretty fun. It started out, when I went to Reef Stock last year. That was the first time I'd been in years, and I got to see so many people that I hadn't seen in forever. And it was a bit, what's the word? I don't know. It was kind of bittersweet because I hadn't had tanks in a few years, so I didn't have anything to show for myself, I suppose. And so when I went back this year, I was excited. I caught some flack. Some people were trying to say that this whole thing was like a stunt for the show to attention seek or try to get views or something. And it was before he had any sort of online presence at all. But I was just excited to show my friends in the industry. I used to farm coral and aquaculture in Denver, and so I wore it like a Flava Flav clock, and it sort of broke the scene. I mean, it was really cool seeing how many people were just excited or asking for pictures, or little kids coming up and asking, how can I make one, or what can I do with this? And that was totally a hit. I had an absolute blast. Then I just happened to be in Dallas the weekend to wrap. I got sent out there for work, and I was talking to Harley. It was kind of like, hey man, you want to hang out this weekend? I'm going to be in town. And there we go. So why not hang out, at the PNW booth? It's super fun.
That's right. And then you got to come to the Tank Talk with Tian swag and spend dinner.
Oh, it was so nice. I can't believe you got the whole Jumbotron even filled up too. That was cool. That was super cool.
I still haven't, got my mind is still stuck on the Jumbotron. that was pretty awesome. It was so good to see you there, and for you to be able to see what kind of community that we have. Those were all Tank Talk, not all of them, but everyone that was in there was Tank Talk people, and gosh, it was just so much fun, And
that was a great night.
It was
awesome.
It was a great night. Now, one question someone had, I got a couple of questions I've seen in a comment. Someone wanted to know what you were taking apart there on the back. Is that your extra battery pack?
No, I was gonna crack that just to kind of show how simple the circuitry is for something like this.
Okay.
This is a 3D printed enclosure that I made. This houses, so these are pulse width modulator boards. You can get these things on Amazon. They just screw on through the sidewall of the box. I think they were $7.90 or something a piece. I'm working on a little tutorial. There's been enough feedback about this of people interested that I'm going to put together a little curated Amazon store selection of parts that I know work well for this, and instructionals to be able to make your own version of this.
Oh.
And it's going to start out as a really simple sort of, hey, you just got your micro reef. Here's how you make the wires look pretty, so they're not, but you don't want a bunch of spaghetti and meatballs on your desk. You want to have a nice setup because it's not just the coral that you want to look pretty.
Right.
But I want to grow that through. How do you cut things to length? How do you pick a battery pack to run it? How do you mount stuff on the back of the tank? How do you control the light? How do you get more flow? I actually took the USB ports out of the side of his light housing. I threw the factory circuit board right in the trash and built my own power supply for it. So now this whole thing is done up. This does not control the light anymore. This actually controls the pump flow. So you can see right now it's on constantly where the ripple goes.
Wow.
If I press this, it'll actually turn it into a wave maker and save power. So I just took a button that's designed to control a heated jacket. I'm sure you've seen like the Milwaukee Tools or DeWalt or whoever makes jackets that take drill batteries. The way they do medium and low heat is they just turn the heat on and off every few seconds. So I took the same chip out of one of those and just, made it work with that factory button molding so that it looks factory. And now I can run it. Most of the day I run it at full tilt, but I know the varied flow is good for the tank, and it's great for the battery life. As far as pump flow is concerned, if I can run it at a 30% duty cycle, I get 3 times the battery life. Same goes for the lights. Humans see light on a logarithmic scale, so when you see the light dim, say 50%, you're losing a lot more than 50% intensity. But it's the same thing for your battery power. Battery pack life works on a really similar function. So I give them plenty of light most of the time when it's on the wall, and then when I go to fly, I turn that light down to about halfway. I kill that refugium light. I take my truck off, and I turn the pump down. And I've gotten over 24 hours of battery on one pack just running it like this.
Oh, wow. That is so cool. That,
It's been
that
really
is
fun.
the other question that I've seen is when you went snowboarding with that tank around your neck and you went down the slope. Okay, we know it had to be cold, so the heater held up perfectly, kept the temperature stable.
Yeah, I didn't wear it around my neck. I had it in the tote bag.
Oh, and the tow.
So my company bought the lodge at the top of the mountain for a company party. And Toby is an honorary employee, just like me. He actually helps me out on site all the time. So he comes to all my company functions. Um, I had taken the gondola up and set him in the lodge, and we were coming and going all day. And then at the end of the day, I was going to ride the gondola back down, but I'm a pretty confident rider. And if I need to not fall for a round, that's not too much to ask. So I just took it nice and smooth and found a groomer. And, I didn't even have I looked at the bottom. I didn't even have a single coral close up by the time I got to the bottom. The heater's super overpowered. I think these are designed for a 5-gallon tank. Um, I've been on site, I work on cars, and if I get sent somewhere that's really cold, sometimes the facility's not perfectly heated. I've actually found myself just at first as a joke, but now kind of seriously taking the lid off and just sticking my fingers in there to warm them up when my fingertips get really cold. It'll still be 70 something degrees in there, even when it's 28 in the install bay. So I'll just.
Oh my gosh, that is funny. Andrew Williams asked, is that a lithium ion battery that you're using?
Correct. Yeah, it's a lithium ion battery. This one is just a phone charging bank. I've experimented with a few different kinds of things. Um, Everything is 5-volt powered on the entire tank. So basic USB-A power protocols work to run it. You need multiple outputs to handle the current when everything's turned up all the way.
Yeah.
That's really the only thing to it. So the hardest part at first when I would show up at a new hotel or wherever was I would have to unplug everything from the battery bank, and I had a harness of extensions that went to a 4 USB phone charger. This one's got pass-through charging, and it's super cheap. So I just, plug it in just like a phone charger. I've got one block now that'll charge my phone, my laptop, and my fish tank from one outlet. So I can be pretty minimalist on the road. It's not bad at all.
That is so cool. Oh my God. Harley said this man ripped a mountain with Toby. So rad. And that is, it's just so cool. And Harley had said, if they'd let me scroll back, says Mike helped me so much get my traveling micro reef set up. That is so awesome. Harley's built the tank and everything, but you have done you took it to the next level. Let's be clear here. You took it to the next level because you have, you take it everywhere. Literally, you take it everywhere with you. You don't have to have anyone babysit your tank. It goes down the mountain slopes with you. It goes on the airplanes with you. It goes to work with you, literally everywhere. And like, seriously, for someone to say that it was just a stunt pulled at the show, that's kind of, I don't like that, because if they only knew you've had this going, it's not like you just threw it together and threw the corals in there and walked around the show. That's not what you did. This Toby and that tank has been a part of your life for quite a while. And so it wasn't a stunt by any means, so it was a big hit at the shows. And I am so happy I was so happy to get to see it, in person. And it looks literally like Toby is absolutely living his best life in there with you.
I think he is. He's a pretty happy little fish. I don't know. Sometimes he'll come say hi. I'll see if I can get him to here. Sometimes he gets a little too excited when the pump shuts off. He thinks he's getting food, but every now and then he'll come over and say what's up. That's the corner that I always feed him in. So he goes right. That's like Toby's corner. It's got the most swim room. So when he's got the zoom, that's where he'll always kind of be. But he's not shy at all. He'll come up and kind of hang out. There you go. He'll perch on my finger and just kind of hang out. For a little fish, he's not shy at all. He acts like a clownfish or something. He'll come up and nibble on you, and rub up against you and hang out. And he's just, I don't know, he's a happy little dude.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. I absolutely love it. And to think that there is 55 plus or so species in that tank, that's literally mind-blowing. And guys, I want to remind you that these size tanks right here, that is the 40 ounce, they are on sale right now at P&W Custom. He has a tax sale, tax refund sale or tax day sale going on right now at P&W Custom. So these kind of tanks like this, I think, make the perfect. Well, I never thought about traveling with it, but like the perfect desktop if you're at work a lot and your big tanks at home, and so the desktop, a nightstand, just anywhere. And these are also, I think, would be also cool to see in some schools too, and get kids interested in the hobby.
I think honestly that this is a contrarian. This is my hot take. This is a contrarian opinion. I think I was reefing the wrong way for a long time, and I think the industry is going to shift. I've been asked if I want to have big tanks again, or people bring up their 125 or whatever. I used to take care of roughly 3,500 gallons of water. I loved it. It was a great time. I find this just as rewarding, if not maybe a little bit more so. It's sort of like a bonsai garden. I can't recommend it enough. Like you said, you don't have to get a tank sitter. Even if it's not something you travel with all the time, you could totally take this on a road trip or out of town with you.
Yeah.
With very little work to just, you can make it so you could plug it in the car and not have anything to worry about. I go to the coral store and say they have a frag for $60. I'll ask them, hey man, as you can see, because I brought my entire fish tank, I don't have room for this. I can't give you $60 for that whole frag. I'd have to throw 2/3 of it away. How about you whittle a polyp or two off the side for me for $5? And almost always they'll say yes. So I get murderously good prices on coral. I never have to trust anybody else to take care of it. I got rid of the brute trash can. I don't mix salt water in a trash can anymore. I mix salt water with a Nalgene bottle and a milk frother, like I'm making a cappuccino. Life could not be better with this thing. I keep a Hannah pen. A lot of people have bins and bins of aquarium stuff. I have this roll. This is the entire diaper bag for the fish tank. This is everything I use to take care of it. I've got Benepets. I've got pellets. I've got pipettes. I've got a Julian's scraper from Two Little Fishes. The Nanomag fits between the rockscape. I cut up a bunch of hotel front desk toothbrushes. I've got bone cutters to frag SPS. I have spare rubber bands. I have tweezers coming out of my ears, super glue, salinity pen. I keep a squeegee and an airline for my water changes and cleaning the tank. And then, travel style, I've got my TSA friendly bottles. So I keep 2 of these, but full of salt water in case I spill in between checking my bag and getting it back. And then 1 of these full of RO water, so I can clean the tank on the plane. Sometimes I get some weird looks, but I'll, spray it down with RO and squeegee it dry and crack it open and feed the fish and, scrape the glass. I've had great luck with, there's this little toothbrush with the end cut off of it. Instead of spending, hundreds of dollars on tank accessories, I just asked the lady at the Hilton, hey, could I have a toothbrush, please? Sure. There you go. No questions asked. I've got ChemiPure. I've got filter floss. I recently started messing with the carbon-infused filter floss, which hit or miss. Who knows what it's doing, but it's a good way to run it. If something happens or if I weed zoas, I'll run a bag of ChemiPure. And the samples from the trade shows last me months. I don't buy most of the stuff because they just last forever. So 10 out of 10 on free sample sizes. They gave me a sample bottle of pods in Dallas, and I was like, I can't pour that whole thing in my tank. There's no way. Yeah. So I shake it up and I pour a little bit in there and I call it a day.
That's terrible.
I don't know. I think you're going to see a shift of it. I would much rather have 100 1-gallon tanks than one 100-gallon tank. I would do that 1,000 times over.
That is so awesome. And you've got it. I mean, it is all like right there. So I was going to ask you, you feed Benefits? Is that what you feed?
I feed Benefits to the corals every now and then I've just got the TDO pellets, the like super duper small stuff. Toby used to be about a third the size he is now. So I mean, you can barely see it. This stuff. You know, I get this out at a bar and people think I have drugs. I'm like, no, I'm just gonna feed my fish. Take it easy. You know, I'm not
It's
here to
not
get
that
anybody
bad.
into trouble. Yeah. And then I found that if you go to a bar and you grab out a pea cup and a full size pipette, people look at you a little funny. So I found these little tiny vials. I got a bag of 100 of them for $5 in these little tiny pipettes, and this is plenty to feed everybody in here. You know, I take the smallest pinch of food I can, and I'll stick this in there. I've got little caps for him, so if I'm going out for the night, I'll pack Toby a little, sack lunch and huck it in the side of the bag, and he's good to go.
Oh my God, that is so cool. I mean, literally, you have thought of everything. And Toby just looks like he is just absolutely loving life to the fullest. And I'm really glad, I guess, that Petco would not give you any water, like a couple of cups of water. Um, Seriously, I'm glad that they didn't now. I mean, that was not nice on their part, and they went down a little notch. But in actuality, that's how you and Gobi met, and you brought Gobi home. So, or Toby home. So I'm really happy that it worked out like that.
Yeah, I think it was for the best.
Oh,
He's a cool little fish, and I think he's been the perfect fish for the tank, honestly. He might be a bit big, but he's happy. He's king of the castle, and he doesn't need any, he doesn't seem to want for more.
that's right. So people in the comments, some of them have asked about water changes. How often do you do water changes on that micro?
So this is another opportunity to dispel common micro tank reef myths. People ask me, like, do you have to change water once a day, or do you have to do it every hour on the hour, or how often do you feed it? This thing is super friendly to neglect. I get really busy with work sometimes, and there are days that I can't feed the fish or touch it for, you know, 48 or 72 hours, and it doesn't need a top off. It doesn't need anything. I actually don't top it off, but about every 3 days. Before I had Toby, and before I had stony corals, I had a Monty or two. I could go 1 to 2.5 months without changing any of the water, and I still would, I wouldn't have to scrape the glass, but every few days. If you manage them well, they're totally fine. I mean, they're really, if you don't overstock the tank, they don't need a whole lot. People feed them too much, I think. When I feed him, I basically stick my finger in the bag, the littlest pinch, and I'm scraping food off the tip of my finger into the cup. These pellets are smaller than a pinhead, and he'll eat 10 of them and quit. And if you feed him with the flow off in a pipette, just so he knows right where to get it and it doesn't hit the ground, I
Hmm.
go weeks without even changing the filter floss. Right now, I'm about due to change the floss. You can see the water level starting to sit a little higher on that side, but it's still not overflowing the baffle. And
Right.
it's been fine. I've got marine pure gems in that little compartment, marine pure gems and brittle stars, the little micro brittles. And then the little fuge helps out. I do notice right now I have very little chaetomorpha in there. When the chaeto starts to pack the refugium and it's time to weed it out, I grow no algae. I mean, once if this thing's full of chaeto, proportionally, that's such a huge refugium to the tank that, and this light gets super bright, I don't have to worry about anything. When I weed it out, I leave just a little ball because it is a bit tricky to get in there, and
Yeah.
you know, then I'll get a little bit of algae growth, but I haven't cleaned it in a couple days. I did have, the excellent idea that to truly replicate the ocean, I should probably have some trash. So I found these little dollhouse glass bottles to throw in the sand bed to represent the actual ocean in its true state. I'm here to spread awareness after all. But that's about the dirtiest part of the tank right there, those two glass bottles.
Oh my God. Literally, Mike, you have thought of everything. And yes, as sad as I'm laughing, but that it is sad that the oceans have trash in them, you know. So yes, spread awareness. Let's clean up our oceans, you know, guys. We ain't gonna get no more. Let's take care of what we got. So now I
Absolutely.
want to I want to know, when you started this tank, did you start with live sand or dry sand? Did you start with live rock or dry rock? How did you start this tank?
Um, I think actually the start is probably the most important part to a micro. I was really lucky. I had a friend that I kind of got him into the hobby. He used to be a reptile guy. I had sold most of my stuff, not just aquarium stuff, but just about everything I owned. And I had a tank that wasn't worth a ton, but still had everything he needed to be successful. So I gave it to him and said, "Hey, you got to go." He's the one who told me to buy the micro. I took him to Reef Stock to get him introduced to some people. He works at a fish store in Denver now. He's totally killing the game. He's, got coral coming out of his ears. He's farming like a madman. I took a pinch of sand from his tank and, just not too much. I filled it probably a little higher than it is now. I've taken some sand out because I think it makes the tank look bigger. But I took a little bit of sand from him and a piece of rubble rock that he'd had in his sump unlit for a couple of months. And those two really got me started well. I had that hermit crab that hitchhiked his way in. So it was live sand, not just from a store or anything. It was, really good stuff.
Yeah.
And then I took my sweet time making the rockscape. I took some, various pieces of live rock and found pieces I liked and a chisel and a hammer. And I sat there on the concrete and I really carefully broke it up and got some epoxy together. I made a scape. And then I took the entire aquascape and I held it up to a belt sander for a couple of minutes until it was perfectly flat on the bottom so that I could glue it to the bottom of the tank. So the scape won't move, it's totally locked in there. That scape was dry rock that went in, and it had a little bit of a hair algae bloom, a couple weeks in, and it went right away. I had more of a snail load in here for a while. Actually, people think these things that grow algae like crazy. I starve snails, not even putting very many in there. That's the trick to it. I starved a pink stomatella snail, just having two in the tank. So, I don't think that's the sign of a dirty tank or one that's high maintenance. I think that's the sign of one that's maybe a little too clean. But yeah, this rock grew in really nicely, and I got it started with softies right away. I didn't add a fish for a while. The micro as a coral and invert environment is great. Do hermits. Tiny snails, I think they're the Atlantic Nacerius snails. I've got one of them floating around in here somewhere. I don't see him right now. I've got a little white-legged hermit. I grew a blue-legged hermit from the smallest one I'd ever seen in my entire life to, through 3 or 4 shells. The whole thing's come together really nicely. I don't know. I can't just sing my praises about it enough. Oh, and brittle stars are great. Brittle stars clean every crevice of this thing, the little micro brittles. Yeah. I even had Seahorse Aquarium Supply in Portland gave me some of the medium-sized ones. Outside the tank, they're this big, and you drop them in there, and all you see are little kraken tentacles reaching out here and there when you feed the tank. They're super fun to, people at bars to have a hide and seek. Like, oh yeah, there's 3 species of starfish in there, find them all, and they can barely find one.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a great time.
That is absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I love how you are so connected with that tank. I mean, we all love our tanks, but we can't carry around with us, and everywhere we go. But you've made it possible that that tank and Toby will, goes with you literally everywhere. So I know you've got a salinity checker. Do you check any other parameters on there?
No, I loosely considered the idea when I first got it, and I just can't imagine anything ever going wrong enough that it wouldn't be fixed with, a small water change. I carried for the longest time about 1 liter of salt water with me each week, and I would find a way to mix new. Now I carry just about 3 times that, just so I can go longer without needing to to intervene. I quit going back to Denver every weekend. I kind of just drift around like a delinquent these days. So I'm good to be on the road for the better part of a month before I even need to find somewhere that has a halfway decent fish store. Um, it's really, it's not bad. And I think that's sort of, to go back to what you were saying about being in tune with it. I'll sing from the high heavens that we've been reefing the wrong way for forever, myself included. Um, Whenever I had big tanks, none of them were ever running perfectly. People compliment this and they say, "Oh, it's so balanced. The the rockscape is filled in. There's no empty gaps of rock. There's the coral blends so well together. There's no algae on the glass. The sand bed looks great." It's because it's the size of my hand. If you have a tank that's the size of your living room, good luck cleaning the glass often enough to keep it perfectly clean. Good luck buying enough coral to fill it up with stuff that's really cool and not go into the $10 Zoa section to buy the rock that's full of Pandoras that's going to take over your whole tank. There's so many common downfalls. Oh, I wanted to get that torch, but I had to buy 15 buckets of salt because my tank is 10,000 gallons. Ah, man, that sucks. If you have bottomless pockets and you have people on payroll like Polo Reef, it's one thing. But if you're just running it on your own and it's, just a hobby and you don't want it to consume your whole life, Tiny is great. I love this thing. It's awesome. And it makes me selective too. I don't get impulsive with coral anymore. I go and I find stuff that I really like and I say, well, how's that going to work with the color scheme here? And I take the fish tank to the store so I can hold a frag up right next to it in the blue light and be like, yeah, that'll fit right there. Let's do that. Or, whatever have you. When I was at the show, even, I'm going around to these guys' booths and I've got the thing on my neck and I'm like looking down and looking in their tank and looking down and looking in their tank. And I was even asking him, like, hey, did anything break on your way here? Do you have any tiny bits that you're just going to throw in the trash because they're so small that you don't even think they'll survive? Because I'd love to gamble with it. Do you mind?
Right.
It's just great. I don't know. I think it's probably my favorite way to keep reef tanks now. Before I would ever get another 100 or 200 gallon tank, I would have one of these that was softies only, one of these that was sticks and had auto water changes, and I'd have another one that was a bubble tip tank, and so on and so forth. I'm getting ready to do a little series. I'm working with Harley. We're going to do a how to build a micro reef from the ground up, and to prove a point and to have some fun, I want to do a bubble tip tank that I don't see for weeks at a time. So I want to make it, I think we can pull it off where it's, hey, it's 40 ounces. You guys think these are going to need everyday intervention? I'm going to take something sensitive and I'm going to see how it does. I'm pretty confident that they're going to be fine. I think they'll not just survive, but thrive and, be able to go. That Manila spy that's in there, that thing grew from the tiniest little twig, the size of the small branches on it right now. That's what it was just a couple months ago. And it's flourishing. I mean, the thing's blowing up on me. It's almost growing out of the water. So
That's
I'm gonna
insane.
have to find a solution to that eventually. But I know it's a fast grower in general, but it's been great. I did have an acro colony go on me, but I've been looking for a way to add zoa habitat. So that acro that's in the front right there is fine, but the one in the back just started sprouting up some algae because it's this new uncolonized space. That guy's going to be my Grandmaster Krakatoa colony. So it'll just be real estate to let some softies grow up now. Everybody loses an acro here and there. I don't really take that as a bet against the tank. Well, I've still got Monties encrusting and other acros growing, and the Manila Spy's thriving. I've got the Samacora in the back behind it that's going, like a bat out of hell. It's
Yep.
been doing great.
That is amazing. Now, guys, if you love the look of this tank, they are on sale right now through April 15th at PNW Customs. Harley, drop your link again, please. They are on sale. A lot of the tanks are on sale. I was actually going to set up my 5-gallon Smolin one that I got from Harley here back at the 1st of December. I was going to set it up, and I went because I'm wanting to make it like all from all different of our vendors that's on here, So I got the tank from Harley. I went to my LFS and got some live sand from there. I've got some Marco, the live maricultured rocks coming from Marco Rocks. And so they were supposed to be here today, but through all the flooding and everything, they are delayed. So I didn't get to start setting that up today. But as soon as the rocks come in and the salt, I'm using the salt from Reef Delight. So I'm trying to mix it up from all the vendors. So it's going to be a pretty cool tank, or at least I hope so anyway. I'm going to try to. But on Harley's website, I don't know, have you found this helpful? On his website, there's little like to-do list, I guess you would say. It's like a checklist for the micro takes. You know, you do this today, do this today. I think that helps people kind of get in, in the habit, of checking the salinity or doing a water change or whatever. So that is very helpful. I think so. Anyway, and so you've got this down pat. So you probably don't even need a checklist anymore, do you, Mike?
I listen to Toby. He tells me what he needs. It's just like so I think if you're starting out in the hobby or you're not too experienced with nano tanks in general, the checklist is a really good jumping off point to get you started.
Right.
I kept nanos for a while. My first tank was only 14 gallons and I had it until the bitter end. It was my first and last. And I think that tank did pretty well. Um, the salinity is really all that matters. If you can keep it, and people say temperature would fluctuate really fast in this thing. I've had it go from 67 degrees to 83 in a day, and it's maybe not the most ideal situation for fast coral growth, but if it's not sitting under a running hot water faucet or in the blazing sun, it's fine. I usually wear a ball cap when I go out with it, so if I'm somewhere they're catching direct sun, I just give Toby a little hat to keep the sun off of him, and a little bit of natural light on a cloudy day. The corals seem to love it. They really all open up and come out extra wide.
Yeah, I don't think natural light hurts at all, actually. I
I
know
also
there's a
think
few.
I think the other thing about this is I think people have told me they think the travel's bad for it. That it would be hard on the fish or the corals or kill stuff or whatever. I think it's great for it. Hobbyists spend so much time and money trying to create random strong flow to keep a reef tank healthy, and on top of that, they go through their tank with a turkey baster, and we've all been sitting there blasting crud out of the rocks and seeing the absolute storm of detritus that's sitting there poisoning your tank until you get to it, which we never get to it as fast as we should. I do blast the rocks with a pipette here and there. I hardly ever get very much. The sand bed I get a little bit, but I just take it out with me. My tank gets dirty and needs a turkey basting. I go out and have a couple drinks with it until I end up, accidentally bumping into a door or two with it, and everything's fine. They all seem to grow happy. Corals that are subjected to stress regularly grow stronger skeletons. That's plainly visible in the academic literature on the topic. There's really no reason to not travel with it. These little fish are, they find themselves in tide pools with waves crashing into them. This is small potatoes comparatively, and Toby's never once acted stressed or gone to cower in a corner when a plane takes off. I don't turn the car stereo up too loud in the rental car unless I leave him at home for a day of work. That's when I get my jamming in, especially if it's got a factory subwoofer or something. But that's about the only thing that I really kind of feel bad about is if they're in a really loud. I don't take them to the nightclub, but I'm not really a nightclub guy anyways, so no sweat off my back. I'll take them out to bars and restaurants, and that's another life hack to doing this. People on Two Faces. I've had so much fun. I thought I was going to be an outcast carrying this thing around. I meet other hobbyists because you would never think to ask the stranger next to you in the TSA line, "Hey, do you have saltwater fish tanks?" I'm, so obsessed with it that I just ask every single person I cross paths with, "Do you have one? Do you have one? Do you have one?" But this is a filter. They all see the blue glow. Those are the people who know. I get TSA agents that open the bag and they're like, "Oh, dude, you got hammer corals in here? You got Krakatoazoas? That's wild." And they know what's going on. So then it's an immediate point of building rapport. And people love it out and about on the town. I'm educating people. I've known people that have come up to me and said, "I didn't even realize coral was alive. I thought it was rocks in the ocean that fish congregated around. And so you can teach them to know their animals. Like, here, take this pipette. You should feed them, watch them eat. You're inspiring care for the ocean. But also, people want it around. I just last night, my entire flight crew from my United flight out here to Montana saw me in a restaurant, recognized me, called out to me, invited me to their table. My pilot bought my dinner and my beer, and then I ended up going out with them all night. We're, bar hopping all together, just having a great time. And flight crew are famous for not wanting to hang out with their customers. I drink for free in hotel bars across the country. People make a joke or two, and I go stick it on their table for an hour while I do my thing and work on my computer, and then they come back and they have stories. I've had people sometimes people get kind of emotional. They're like, wow, I had a girl 2 weeks ago in Spokane, Washington that she's sitting there fascinated with it. I let them have it for a bit, and she said, I just my I think it was her little brother that was, less than 10 years old, had passed away from some terminal disease, and he loved aquariums, and she was just in tears. Like, I can't believe, like, if he would have seen this, like, this just made my night. I needed this so bad. It just puts good energy out into the world, honestly. Like, I thought I was going to be an outcast. The only place that didn't like it was Philadelphia, and I didn't love them the most either. I think I'm okay with Philadelphia not loving the tank. They kind of looked at me like they might catch it if they looked at it too long.
Well, that's pretty cool. So you and Toby hanging out, going to the bars, pilot paying for your meal and your drinks. I mean, does life get any better than that? Like, seriously, that's so cool.
I don't really think so.
I've seen someone, I think it was John, said he wanted to get one of those. Well, guys, if you didn't know, now is your time to get one because they are on sale. Thank you for dropping the link. It's Tax Day Sale, I believe is what it's called. And several of the smaller tanks, including the 40 ounce, like we're seeing right here, guys, that's 40 ounces of water. And if he zoomed in on that and got it up close, you could not tell that it wasn't this giant tank, that you're looking at.
This is a 10-gallon tank. Those are protopalees and wall hammers. And, that's what this is. This isn't a nano or a micro. Just see the size of that massive Recordia.
that is amazing.
Sell it that way.
But they are on sale right now through April 15th at PNW Customs. It is a tax day sale, so if you're thinking about getting one, and guys, these would make great gifts. Just like, Mike ran into the lady that it really touched her heart, to see it and spend a little bit of time with it. We need to be nice to everyone because we never know what they're going through or what they have been through. So, Mike, I really think that you've really touched a lot of people, not just her, but you've left an impression and you're bringing awareness to the ocean and to the reef and to the hobby. And I absolutely love that. Absolutely love it. And Toby is so personable. I think he's just the most adorable thing ever. Yes, the price is amazing right now. This is the cheapest they've ever been, and they will come with extras from the sale. So got that straight from Harley's mouth right there. April 15th, the sale date they'll be off sale on the 15th. So if you're really considering one of these, hey, Matt, if you're really considering one of these, now would be the time to do it. And if you want to take it,
Matt was the first guy. I think Matt was the first guy I ever got coral from. He gave me my first pair of clownfish too, Black Storm clowns. Matt's an OG right here. Welcome to the chat for sure, dude.
40 ounces of freedom right there, Drew said. That's right.
I want to get an Old English sticker for the front of it down here so that I can tell people that my 40 ounce costs more than their whole bar tab, but I haven't done that yet.
Hey, that would work. That would work. But yes, they are on sale right now at PNW Customs. Harley, feel free to drop your link again in case someone missed it.
If you guys find me on Instagram or Facebook too at Roaming Reef, I'll share the link for the
Yes,
$7
please
dollhouse
do.
fishing pole.
Please,
These are a hoot.
please do share the link, Roaming Reef. Be sure and go follow the journeys of Toby and Mike. I mean, seriously, that right there is worth joining and following their page. His page. It is really amazing. Uh, Harley says all the stuff, full setup, ATO heater, cooling kit, probe, etc. They're available and on sale. Okay. Whoops. I don't know where that took me. Okay, I just lost Facebook on my laptop. There it is. They are on sale now. Oh, thank you, Cheyenne. Cheyenne dropped your Roaming Reef Instagram link. The little tank, Andrew says the little tank looks better than his. Hey, I mean, it looks, I would put it up against mine. I mean, that's just really cool. 55 plus species in that 40-ounce micro tank. So if you say you don't have room for, if someone says, oh, I can't afford it, this is what I've heard all my life. And this is one of the biggest reasons that I never got into saltwater was it's too expensive. You can't do it. It's too much work. Blah, 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 blah. That's what I heard. So if you think that it's too expensive or that's what you've been told or someone else tells you that, oh, you can't, it's so expensive, you can't do it. This right here proves it can be done. And right now they are on sale for, I don't even know what they're on sale for, but they're on sale for tax day sale. I don't know the exact price, so I don't want to quote it here. But they are on sale, and Mike has proven that 40-ounce tank can not only make it, but it will thrive. He is growing. He can frag stuff out of that little tank. And he can take it with him everywhere. You can get into reefing for less than $140 right now. So yeah, and guys, I don't think, Harley, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think it'll work, but there is a standing code for Tank Talk. I believe it's TTWT10, but I don't think it'll work on sale items. I don't believe so. But if you need some other items, because Harley's got all kinds of really goodies, the 40 ounce is only $129. Thank you, Harley. But keep in mind when you order other things that's not on sale, order 13304. Hey, we sold one. uh, you know, so keep in mind to use that code. I believe it's TTWT10. You can look on our website. We now have a website. If you didn't know, tanktalkwithian.com. All of our codes from the vendors that are available right now are listed on our website. So yeah, it is amazing. It is amazing. You're going to want to follow Mike. It's called Roaming Reef. Cheyenne has dropped his TTWT works after the sale, throughout the sale. Works after the sale. Oh, really? Okay. Sweet. Cheyenne has dropped his Instagram link called Roaming Reef. If you have Instagram, follow him on Instagram. You are on Facebook. I have followed you on Facebook. It's pretty darn cool. I mean, seriously, it is amazing. So you don't dose any trace elements or anything in there, do you? You just
I feed the fish and I pour RO in until the salinity sways less than 1 point of specific gravity. That's all I do. I change a little water here and there. A week or so ago, I had enough algae kind of starting to pop up. I'd been feeding the coral real heavy. Just after the show, I weeded all this stuff out and put all this stuff in and fed really heavy. That I did about a 75% water change over the course of a couple days, and it's just not bad. I want to make a series too, so I'm going to start, like I said, with just basic cable management, and I want to go all the way up to how to mount a little magnetic connector and put LEDs on a hat or a tiny truck or whatever you want to light up to have this thing look as good as it can. How to build diffuse light.
When can we expect that series to start?
It's gonna be soon here. I'm working on content for it as we speak. I want to make sure that it's well thought out. I don't want to rush in and just start doing random topics in an odd order. I want it to be something that, kind of like the BRS 52 weeks. I want you to be able to get the kit and get started.
Yeah.
Harley's shipping me another one. I picked up another micro tank because this is his old style equipment, and I want to start with the exact same stuff that you can get from him today. He's got a
Right.
new updated light. I want to match all of that, and then we'll just go from zero to hero and end up hopefully back here again. Except this time I'm going to do one that I can truly ignore. Instead of the traveling tank, it'll be the most neglected tank there ever was. But hopefully it'll stay super happy. It'll just come with me out on the town when I'm in Denver, and let's hope we have a little rest day.
That's awesome. That is so cool. I love how you have took that 40 ounce to like the next, literally the next level, and taking it everywhere with you. I mean, it is beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. Um, Guys, you're gonna want to. This is what, April 8th. It is April 8th. April 8th. So we've got until April 15th. The sale is only good through the 15th. So if you're considering one of the smaller tanks, such as that 40 ounces, guys, that we're looking at right now, if you're considering that, this would be the perfect time to do it while the sale is still on. Um, Harley has got everything figured out on the tank, but Mike has took it to the next level to make it where it's absolutely totally portable. You can take it anywhere with you. He gets on planes with it. He goes down, he has skied down a mountain slope with it. He's took it to the waterfalls. He's been everywhere. So you're going to want to follow Roaming Reef on Instagram and on Facebook. um, Nick says he wonders how many different types of Zoas he could fit in one. Ooh, I
I
don't know.
wanted to respond to Henry there about the Arduino. I don't want to say I'm a step ahead of you, but I'm right on the same wavelength. I'm actually writing an Android app to be a companion for an ESP32 board, and I want to bring to market a micro reef controller. So it'll be sort of like the Neptune Apex of the micro reef world, except just in tune with the micro reef philosophy. This won't be $2,500. This is going to be the most cost-effective reef controller that the world's ever seen, and upscalable too. Something that can run, a 5 gallon or a 10 gallon micro, and be scalable. I I did mobile electronics and low voltage stuff for a living for my entire life, and I still do. This is the reefing thing has always been secondary to that, and so I don't see any reason why that doesn't already exist. So we're gonna have eventually. The app development is not my strong suit. This is my first time. I wrote my first successful app that achieved the directive. Actually, 2 days ago, I finished it, and that was just a simple experiment to see if I could make a green button that would, tell me good job and make confetti when I clicked it. But it worked. So we're going to go on and build this app out that you'll be able to pair your phone to your micro reef. I travel with a tiny router. That's how my Wi-Fi smart switch gets its time signature, and it's going to be the same thing that, you show up to the hotel. I plug in my router, and immediately all of my devices are paired. I don't have to do hotel Wi-Fi network connectivity or get by the internet or do a password or any of that. I just show up, I plug in, and all my stuff works just like I'm at home. And I want the reef tank to be the same exact way.
That is awesome. I cannot wait to see the next journey that you and Toby go on. I cannot wait to see the next level that you take it to, writing the programs, different. I mean, and the series. I'm excited about the series that you're going to come out with. You're going to want it to follow Roaming Reef on Instagram and on Facebook. See where Toby goes. I think this is fantastic. I love the fact that you're putting the knowledge of the ocean, the reef, the hobby out there, and that you've met so many people along the way. So I'm super excited about that. And yeah, and guys, they're on sale. Did I tell you they're on sale right now? Uh, Only until This man pulls up with his own reef tank and Wi-Fi to hotels. I know. He's like, I don't know. He's like, well, I'm telling you right there, this is the man.
Uh, and to answer your question, Cheyenne, I my company is not the biggest on being super social media present, but I work for a public safety company. I do the new age of camera systems that make it more difficult to be a bad cop and easier to be a good cop. So it's just law enforcement video that nobody can delete the footage from and that you can't tell it not to record. So it's, the account of whatever's going on. So there's no more he said, she said, or,
Right.
wrong actions that aren't documented. But I used to be a car stereo guy. I used to be the guy that you would show up and say, hey, I want to pop my trunk and have LED lights shining everywhere. And I want the bass to, blow my hair up in the window. And, I want it to look like the Incredible Hulk or whatever. And that's sort of come through into this now. That's that same energy.
That is awesome. And what an exciting day job that you have, by the way. I'll throw that in there just for my part. That is super exciting. Uh, uh, Matt Schumann said, talk with Archit about the app stuff. So there's your hookup or a few ideas or whatever. That's Archit Ardwall.
Yeah, I know Archit. He's a good dude too. These are Colorado OGs.
He is so sweet. I just love Archit. So guys, we have been talking about the roaming reef. You're seeing it right there. That is, believe it or not, a 40-ounce tank. 40 ounce. And it's gorgeous. It's absolutely beautiful. You're going to want to follow Roaming Reef on Instagram and on Facebook. You're going to want to head over to PNW Customs after the live, because those tanks are on sale right now. 40 ounces. They're on sale for a tax day sale. Melissa says, well, thank you for helping to make our streets safer. And I agree with that. Thank you very much.
Sweet. I just work here. I'm not in charge of the, I'm not responsible for this stuff existing. I'm just trying to help.
Oh my gosh.
I do want to say too, if anybody's wondering, I know it's thin acrylic, which is for the best because it looks proportional.
Mm-hmm.
These tanks are bomb-proof. This one that's in front of you right now, over 6 months ago, I want to say closer to 8 months ago, fell roughly 3 feet, landed directly on its side at the gate of Rainier National Park in Washington, onto highway pavement, and it's fine. It actually, the only scratch on the tank, there's a mild one in here, and it's from when I tried to use a scraper that was the wrong kind of plastic, not from when it fell on the highway. So, they're bomb-proof. These things are great. The way that you bond acrylics and plastics, it's essentially as if it was printed, into that shape. Or extruded into that shape. It forms a chemical bond. It's not like super gluing two things together that could burst apart. These things are tanks in two ways, and I couldn't be more fond of it. And keep your eye out too. Toby's got a top secret, massive upgrade coming his way here that he's just not even ready for. He has no idea what's about to hit him. But this thing is in its infancy compared to where it'll be in a couple of months here.
Oh, I'm excited, and I will find out because I'm following you on Facebook. I still got to go follow you on Instagram, and I appreciate Cheyenne dropping your Instagram link. So yeah, that's pretty exciting. But now, like the 1 gallon, there's a 1 gallon and it's glass, and he's got the 5 gallon, it's glass also. And I would shout out to Harley for his packaging skills. Because when I ordered the 5 gallon, it had went through pure, what, before it got here. The whole side of that box was just caved in. I mean, I sent Harley pictures, and he said that is the worst he has ever seen a box come to a customer. He was like, let me know, I'll replace it, pull that tank out there, put water in it, let it set for 2 days, just plain water running through it, There's not a scratch on that tank, and it's perfectly fine. And that is actually the one that I'm going to set up hopefully tomorrow when my Marco rocks get here. So, yeah, his shipping is impeccable. So if you're thinking about ordering like the glass ones from him, don't fret because his packaging skills are superb. Yeah,
That guy
Nicole,
runs
they
his.
do.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was
No.
gonna say that guy runs his company like it's an absolute family ship too. When I got to visit him, I showed up for work in his hometown and just dropped him a line one day. Hey, can I bring your fish tank back to the motherland? And he was super happy to have me. He's got friends and family there working for him that are building this stuff. Everybody's super happy to be there. It's not a factory; it's a maker space. All the graphic design is. His wife is on top of the game, killing it. She's a total pro. They just I don't know. It's a wholesome business that's just super nice to support. I want to see him do really well, and I people ask me all the time like, oh, do you work for him? Are you traveling with that because you sell them? It's like, no, I just like the thing and I like the guy. I just want to see him do well. I'm not
Absolutely.
on payroll.
Harley is just fantastic. I just love Harley to death, and Jenna. I've seen them at shows. I've got hugs, and they're just great people. And I really enjoy being around them, and they're so down to earth, and they've always got time for you, and I absolutely love that. And so yeah, check out PNW Customs, PNW Customs. Harley, drop your link again. These things are on sale right now through the 15th of April. So if you're thinking about one, and think ahead, guys, because whether it be for we've got Easter coming up, or even the holidays, throw one of these back for a gift for the holidays, to give to someone, because that's a really good price. And you could have one looking just like Toby's house right there. So just know that it can be done. It is being done, and it will continue to be done. And you know what, Mike? I have so enjoyed having you on tonight. I mean, it has just been an absolute blast.
Yeah, it's a great time. Thanks a ton for having me. I'm glad to put the memo out there. I want people to get excited about these things. I kind of hope that in 4 or 5 years, I'm not going to be a weirdo showing up at the bar with this thing. I don't want people to ask what is that. I just want I want them to ask, what's in yours? I've got this and that in mine. I think it'd be super sweet to see more of these out there. And the goal is to die young as late as possible. I don't take this thing seriously at all. I hold Toby up, to the wall at the aquarium and let him look at the fish, and he might not know where he's at, but I think he has a great time. The only thing I found that he doesn't like, it's funny enough, the only thing I've ever held up to the glass that he actually ran from was a chocolate chip cookie. The little tiny one on the plane, like the first class United snacks. I've got a video. I need to post it somewhere. He's totally fine with the finger coming up to approach him, but a little cookie just like that, and he goes running. I think he's allergic to chocolate.
Oh my God, that's too funny. I will watch for that video because that is hilarious. The chocolate chip cookie is what scares him. Oh my God, I absolutely love it. But you know what Harley has offered to do for us tonight, Mike?
What's going on?
We're, I don't know if you know or not, but we spin the wheel and give something away, or two somethings, or three somethings, or whatever. But Harley from P&W Custom has offered up a 40-ounce, just like what you're holding right there, or what you're showing off. He's offered a 40-ounce tank. We're going to spin the wheel for it.
All right. I love it.
Somebody is going to win one of those. And I will say, whoever does not win one, you can still snag one at a really good price right now through April 15th. And Harley doesn't just have tanks. He's got frag racks. He's got the pop stands. He's got all kinds of cool stuff over there. So you're going to want to go check him out. Be sure and follow Roaming Reef also on Instagram and Facebook. Mike, we're fixing to spin the wheel. We want to see who's going to get one.
It's going down. Let's see what's
Let's
up.
go.
He does
Here
even
we
make
go.
a tiny frag rack that fits the micro reef, by the way. It comes with little tiny frag plugs that are this big. I've got
Right.
to. We're doing some upgrades here. I'm going to make room. Right now, my scape is too big, but they're awesome. You know, you can accessorize this thing just like a full size reef tank.
Absolutely. Number 43. The deal is you got to be here to win. You can't be a slacker and just, go to bed or whatever and win. No, you got to be watching. And seriously, who would want to miss a live on TikTok? Melissa Johnson, are you watching? Number 43, right? Is that what you got? Yeah. Number 43, Melissa Johnson. This is the big question. Are you here? You were earlier. I seen you commenting. Melissa Johnson. Let's see if we can get her to comment. Melissa, and if I'm not mistaken, that is another Arkansan. She is here. Congratulations,
Okay.
Melissa. That's awesome. That is so cool. Congratulations. You're gonna get a 40 ounce. Now, Melissa, we gotta know what you're gonna do with it. We gotta see. We're gonna need you to post pictures on Tank Talk on your journey along the way with your 40 ounce. And so congratulations, Melissa Johnson. If you thought we were done spinning the wheel, you left too soon, because we are not done spinning the wheel. We can't just give away a PNW micro tank of 40 ounce. No, we're going to spin the wheel again. As a matter of fact, we're not done. If you guys leave early, you've lost out. We're gonna spin the wheel for a Tank Talk with Tian, a super swag pack. Some really cool stuff in there, all kinds of samples, stickers, all kinds of good stuff. Some really amazing stuff I brought back from Dallas. Number 64. Let's see who that one is. Number 64. Nicole Kahn. Nicole Kahn. She was in here earlier. I seen her. The deal is, are you still here? Nicole Kahn. Y'all let me know if you see her comment, because, Facebook is kind of jacky like that, Nicole Kahn. This is for a Tank Talk with Tian super swag pack. She is here. See, she knows not to leave Tank Talk early. Congratulations. You are the winner of a Tank Talk with Tian super swag pack. And we're still not done. I happen to have 2 of these amazing little pop stands from none other than PNW Custom. Check that out. Right there. Look, that frag plug sets real snug in there. Keeps your coral up off the sand. We're going to spin the wheel, and we're going to give away this pair of PNW pop stands. So, everybody still here? You better be. You shouldn't leave early. Mike, really? Should they leave early or not? No, I don't think so.
I don't think it's the move.
I don't either. Here we go, guys. This is for the PNW pop stands. A pair of them. And it is number 50. Number 50.
I'm going to have to bug Harley to make a tiny pop stand that fits the micro-sized frag plug.
Oh, geez, that would be wonderful. Hey, Archit.
Oh, hey, we were just talking about you, Archit.
Was your ears burning, Archit? Because we was talking about you. Mike Wiskowski. And if I'm butchering your name, Mike, I apologize. Mike Wiskowski, are you here? This is for Mike. If you're here, this is what what I'm gonna send you right here. These are PNW pop stands, a pair of them. Mike Wiskowski. You can also find these on PNW Customs. Don't forget to go to tanktalkwithtyan.com and find the code that is valid for PNW Pop Stand. Hey, Archit. Archit, are you coming to Orlando? Mike Wiskowski. Mike.
It's funny. Kids call me Mike Wazowski all the time, just as a joke when they see my name.
Mike Wiskowski. And I may be saying it wrong.
Mike
but
Wazowski.
Like Wolz. That's right. Mike Wiskowski. Seriously, you really shouldn't miss a Tank Talk with Tian live because you never know what is going to happen. These are bigger than the 40 ounce. Guys, these are really cool to keep your corals up off the sand bed. If you need any of those, you will find those on PNW Customs. Go to tanktalkwithtyan.com and look at the code, a standing code. Oh, wished Archie, I wished you was too. Archie, I'm actually going to be speaking at RAP Orlando. I really wished you was going too. Oh, Chad says spin again. Let me get back to the wheel. He said spin again, so it's over for that number. Here we go. We're respinning the wheel for the PNW pop stands. A pair of them right here.
It's enough to fill an entire micro reef.
Number 6. That would take up your whole tank, wouldn't it?
I don't think you could fit 3. I think 2 would have some room to knock around, but I don't think you'd fit 3.
I don't think you could either.
Cassie Rhodes.
Cassie Rhodes?
Yeah.
Cassie Rhodes. Rhodes. Cassie Rhodes. Let's see. Joshua Allen, yes, I did. I did get your info, and I did send it on to the vendor. Sure enough, I sure did. I see Mike was, he commented, but it was after we was spinning. Mike, I'm sorry, we had to spin again. When Chad says spin again, it's like, you know, it's time. So, sorry, but hey, I tried. You emailed today. Awesome. I had a lot of errands to run, so I haven't really kept up with the emails much today, but I will get to them. Cassie Rhodes, did Chad say spin again or no? Oh, I know, Mike. You know, and that drives me nuts too. Cassie Rhodes. Hey, you got a box coming in from Kush Corals anyway, so you got some cool stuff. Cassie Rhodes. Man, Mike, it has been so much fun talking to you and getting to know Toby. Spin again. I got a spin again from Chad, so that name is done. Here we go. The wheel is spinning. This is for a pair of pop stands. You can find these and more on PNW Customs. It is number 41. Number 41. Rebecca Achenbach. Rebecca Achenbach. Can I gift one?
I forgot to share. I forgot to share the secret to keeping your micro tank healthy. You got to keep copper handy.
You got to keep what?
A little bit of copper handy. My tank is always slightly medicated. I've got my little copper pin on the bag, and everything is good to go. This is all that you need.
I love it. I love it. That is so cool. Rebecca
They've got their little
Achenbach.
They're collecting pins all over. They've got, you know, the Alamo and Jackson Hole and Leavenworth and Nederland, Colorado, and Dallas
Oh,
Aquarium, and
man,
Oregon US
I
30.
have a Tank Talk with Tian pin to give you. I don't have any made. Well,
Shoot,
that's really,
we might have to start it.
I
We got to watch
know.
out. I don't know.
I
He's been to the
know.
Starbucks roastery. Toby's been all over.
Toby has been everywhere.
I'm gonna have to change his name to Johnny Cash.
Rebecca Ockenbach, are you here? I am not seeing her either. Rebecca Ockenbach, are you here? Rebecca Ockenbach. Waiting on her or Chad. There, I got the spin again. Okay, that number's done. See what people miss out on when they don't watch a Tank Talk with Tian live? Oh, have mercy. Here we go. Pair of pop stands is going to number 77. Lucky sevens. Number 77.
There you go.
Barry Goss. Barry Goss. Now, he was here. I seen him commenting. He's got his tickets booked to Orlando. I do remember that. I would love to have to take a 40 ounce with me to the aquarium when I go diving there, since I'm on the dive team. Would totally. Oh, that's awesome. That would be so cool. Barry Goss. Barry Goss. Let's see. Are you here? Barry Goss. Who roofed? Wait a minute now. Who roofed Johnny Cash's house? Now I'm going to have to go back and read all the comments. Barry
I know,
Goss.
me too. I'm thinking the same thing. What else did I miss?
Melissa Johnson says, hey, we roofed Johnny Cash's house. That's pretty cool. I had to go back to see who it was.
I don't see any shingles up here. I don't know what you're talking about.
Barry Goss. Are you here? He was here a little bit ago. Somebody, doesn't matter how long it takes us. We are going to give
cool,
away
Nicole.
Huh? Oh, I got to
Toby lived
again.
in Wenatchee for 3 weeks.
Did what?
Nicole said she used to live in Wenatchee by Leavenworth. Toby lived in Wenatchee for like 3 weeks. He called it home for a little bit.
Oh, number 18.
I don't
Number
have
18.
an orange filter handy. I use my pro camera on the Android, so I don't carry a filter. Gotta be a minimalist on the road. I wish I did
Henry,
for this because it won't let me tune the white balance.
right? Henry Denning. He's usually always here. That's right. Thank God God has spoken. Henry Denning. How about a pair of pop stands? Henry Denning. I absolutely love that tank. Are you gonna be in Orlando? Do you have any idea?
I'm pretty sure I'm going to be in Orlando. I've got a week-long deployment before, so I should be able to catch a free flight there. But I've just got to make sure that, nothing goes. If I say I'll be there for sure, then I for sure will have something go wrong. But I'm
Right.
confident that I'll be there.
That's right. Henry is here. Congratulations. Henry is here. Henry is getting the pop stands, and of course you'll get a couple of Tank Talk with Tian stickers along the way when I send those. Melissa Johnson is the winner of the PNW Micro 40 ounce tank. Guys, you're going to want to check those out. They are on sale right now till April 15th at PNW Customs. You're looking at one right now that is absolutely gorgeous. It can be done. Nicole Kahn.
Melissa wanted to know about the light. It's the old style stock light, Melissa, but it's not. That's just the housing. I've made this light, so they're all custom drivers inside of there. I don't really want to crack the thing open, but it's basically a bowl of spaghetti and meatballs inside of there. And then I just cut out the grill from a little Bluetooth speaker to cover up the hole and give some ventilation. I'm going to be making a guide on how I did all of that. But the light that Harley ships with these tanks now is upgraded from when I got mine, and it definitely grows coral. I've seen it do it.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. And it's like on an arm or whatever. It's bendable, so it's a really awesome light. It is fantastic. Nicole Kahn has got a Tank Talk with Tian Super Swag Pack coming. Henry Denny has a pair of pop stands coming. And Melissa Johnson was the winner of the PNW Micro 40-ounce tank. Archie, it has been good seeing you. Thank you, Josh Guest. I want to thank you, Mike Wolz, because we have had a fantastic time, and time has gotten away from us. We've been alive an hour and 45 minutes, just yapping and carrying on, but for a little bitty tank, we sure had a lot to talk about, though.
I think that tends to be the nature of, the beast. He's a good conversation starter. I'm thinking the same thing, though. I'm about ready to go grab some dinner. I just got off a long day at work. I can't wait to go Toby and I are going to go out and have a nice beer together to celebrate.
Awesome. Well, have one for me, and enjoy your evening. And absolutely, I'm so excited to follow the journey of you and Toby and everything. And I encourage all of y'all to do it also. It's called Roaming Reef. Find them on Facebook. Head over to PNW Customs website. Snag you one of those 40 ounces and, let's see what you can do with it. So anyway, Mike, you and Toby have a wonderful evening. Go have one for me and enjoy your night.
Cheers, likewise. And if anybody sees me in person, come say hi. You'll see the enchanted tote bag. You can't miss it. I've got stickers for you.
I will be sure and find me. I will be there. I will actually be speaking on Saturday. I would love for you and Toby to come listen. So if you can at all,
for your speech, we could set you up. We can set you up. We'll make it happen.
There you go. That'd be perfect. Everyone, y'all take care. Have you a wonderful evening. And if I don't see you before, I will see you again next Tuesday night with yet another live. Don't miss it. Take care, everybody. Much love to everyone. Bye, Mike and Toby.
Bye. Say bye, Toby.
Bye, Toby.
All right.
All right.
Later, y'all.
See ya.